cannot believe that we are already at another full moon today. It's so crazy. Based on my natal chart, I'm gonna show you how I walk through a full moon manifestation preparatory ritual, if you will, and just the things that I like to do using the emphasis of the moon and the moon sign calendar, just to be able to align my energy with being able to prioritize, because that's really important as a manifesting generator. So a few of you guys have seen my office behind the scenes. This was my old desk that I push over to the corner. My sewing machine is hidden. Eventually I want to put that up there. And at some point, I'm probably at this month going to do a little vlog about decorating and environments in human design. So I want like a shelving unit here where all this will go up there for storage. But Cancer takes up a lot of my 6th house, which is about my daily routines and rituals. And I like to be able to just organize during this time, especially with the full moon. You know, cleaning up this area. That ring light usually just stays there because for you guys, you've seen me film in this area, just kind of like working with this space, cleaning up my space a little bit, and just pouring into that with the full moon energy, because our 6th house is also about how we focus on our habits, whether they're good, bad, or ugly. So it's like, okay, cleaning up the little piles that get, placed and plopped in different areas is really important for me to just feel like I have more clarity and a streamlined space where I'm not distracted by anything. This is, my rolling rack that switches out of clothes, so on and so forth, things like that. I'll do a little edit of. Okay, so I was gonna clean up and show you how to organize, but this is the MG Manifesting Generator Pivot in real time. I have a client who got a really bad sinus infection, thought she was gonna be better today, but had to reschedule for a second time. So energetically, I'm feeling a little thrown off and a little bit tired. So I'm actually gonna go run to the mailroom that we have here in my development to grab a very special little beginning wedding planning gift that I'm gonna grab and then show you guys instead. So taking a little bit of a break because I'm feeling like just like my flow is disrupted, which I have a gate 5 in human design, and then I start to get a little bit frustrated or anxious because the day isn't going like I had planned. So that's when I just take a break, go outside, step outside. Really good for any of my 28-38 placements too, and I'll do that and come back. So heading to my mail office to go grab a planner that I got to start wedding planning. I'm so excited. Something that I wanted to cover obviously in this video based on the title is like motivation, and here's another pivot. Let's see if there's people on the road doing like road work and stuff. But I wanted to talk about work, motivation, and just being an entrepreneur, using your human design as a way to build your business as an entrepreneur, because that's actually a really big way that I grew on TikTok, because I shared a lot about how I use people's incarnation crosses to help them in business. But I'm actually going to scale it back even a step further to like a more baseline, something that I especially use when I create an offer suite for somebody. I just made a PDF actually about this that I'll link in the show notes, for like customization of like what you need your next steps to be if you can't work with me one-on-one in terms of an 8-week mentorship program, but just something that like helps you get like jump started a little bit. And it's looking at your 2nd house placements, and your 2nd house placements are about like financial stability, stuff that you do to make yourself feel stable. And whether we like it or not, we live in a capitalistic society, so it takes money at this juncture to make our world go round, right? So we could sit and we can argue about the ways that we think it's unfair to work for money, and all those types of things. But I, as a sacral manifesting generator, am more concerned about like, what can we do now based on the information that's at hand, like with what life has to offer us at this moment, right? And so that's looking at our 2nd house. So in order for you to find what sign is the ruler of your 2nd house, and it can be more than one, I've talked about this for a couple of you that have bought the PDF already, is looking at your whole sign and your Placidus. So generally speaking, your rising sign is going to be your 1st house, or the ruler of your 1st house. There's 1st house influence there. So your 1st house, if you're a Pisces rising, is going to be ruled by Pisces. If it's a Virgo, Virgo will rule your 1st house if you're Virgo rising. Scorpio will rule your 1st house if you're Scorpio rising, so on and so forth. And so just a really good kind of like baseline to understand, like, okay, that's how I can start to get, if that's my first house, what comes after Scorpio? It would be Sagittarius if Scorpio is my first house ruler, right? So somebody that has a Sagittarius second house is somebody that's going to need freedom. But then we break it down a step further and I look at what's the gate placements that rule that person's second house. That's for like me to do as a human design person. If you're familiar with human design and want to try to take it a step deeper, you can think in that way. But generally speaking, you want to look at your second house ruler to start to make yourself understand how it feels most aligned for you to make money and what is good for you to monetize. So if you'd like for me to write a little comment or two for you about your specific placement, I'm happy to do that just to kind of get you started. But the PDFs are reserved for people who need like action steps and plans and things like that too, just to be clear about the disclaimers and what everyone can expect with that. And so, you know, for myself, like I'm an Aquarius rising, so Pisces is a big ruler of my second house, even though I have a very wide first house, so there's Aquarian energy there too. And so when we're looking at like a Pisces second house and using myself, for example, like you can see how like Pisces is like working when we're in the mood to work, because one of the gates of Pisces in human design is gate 22, right? So it's like we really are people with those specific placements who are really good as entrepreneurs. But generally speaking, people don't promote entrepreneurship to Pisces placements because they don't know how. They're like, oh, that's for Aries placements, you know, or Aquarius or Capricorn placements, but they're just not familiar with the nuance like that. So that's where it's helpful to ask somebody who knows. And so if you are an Aquarius rising or somebody who has Pisces placements either in your 10th or your second house, you may find that you like doing work similar to the way that I do it, right? If someone has a Libra second house, for example, you may be somebody that enjoys a little bit more of like just aesthetic lifestyle, or somebody who works in like a really bougie, nice office, say for like Google headquarters, and it funds a really good lifestyle that you like to live outside of the office. It's not just about the office. Or you are a morning person anyway, so you like to get up and get dressed and go out to work at a corporation, and you'd rather work with a corporation than an entrepreneurship. There's no right or wrong way. Oh, these cute little deers. No right or wrong way to go about, you know, looking at the work that you do. It can be entrepreneurial inclined. That's obviously my specialty, but I also teach people how to make their corporate jobs more sustainable. Generally speaking, I do that more so in my like 1 hour sessions with people, just because they don't need 8 hours or 8 weeks, 8 sessions of mentorship, because they're doing something different. That's more so for people who need like alignment and like soul searching as well, or they know that they want to start a spiritual business in an entrepreneurial sense of the word. So it's fun to do. I really like teaching people about it. It was really helpful for me to use like when I started to dabble in entrepreneurship and just like talking about like the real way to use these tools, because I always consider myself somebody who's spiritual but also very logical. So like I'm not the type of person that's like always consulting, you know, 3x level guides. Like I talk to my ancestors, the people that have passed over, but I'm also very aware that like I'm a human being having a spiritual experience, not just a spiritual being having a human experience. And I didn't incarnate here to not learn the rules of the world, right, as it is. And so there's an old biblical quote that I think of a lot of the time, and it's like to be in the world but not of it. And I really like that, because it's like, okay, I'm in the world, I'm operating as a human being, but like I don't have to succumb to all the negative rhetoric about, you know, have to hustle, the only way to succeed is to work a 9 to 5, and really choosing your heart. A lot of what I say often is like, choose your heart, choose the things that are challenging, and I'd rather choose the heart of being an entrepreneur than choosing the heart of having to wake up and be at work at 9 o'clock every day. How cute is this little wedding engraving? I love it so much. It's from the Paper Memory on Etsy. I'm excited to put a little bit of a picture, or a little Polaroid picture, I should say, of Manny and I, and just start to fill out all these lists. I actually started to do some of this in Google Drive, actually, on my computer, and then coming up with some ideas. But my goal is to pick the venue first and then reverse engineer from there, and kind of decide like, okay, what are the vibes? Like, what venue do we really like? You know, choosing a certain amount of venues that were within a certain radius, so on and so forth. But I'm so excited to use this. I can't wait. I've been procrastinating working so much today. I've felt so tired. I was on TikTok Live last night and did a lot. I did a little channeled psychic reading for Anna, my girl Anna, who's a beautiful projector. And so I feel like it just moves so much energy, in addition to me getting a 90-minute massage from my girl Megan, who's an Aquarius Sun, Pisces rising. So it just always, I feel like, moves a lot of energy, makes me kind of sleepy. And so what I usually do when I feel sleepy is like, instead of, I get ready for the day, as you can see, obviously I have makeup on, my hair, I wash my hair, and it needs a little bit of a combing right now. But all that to say that I'll start with my writing projects first earlier on in the day. It's currently 2:53 Eastern Standard Time. But I like to get my writing done a little bit early so that my brain is a little bit more fresh. And usually when I'm doing any sort of writing, it's for any kind of PDF. So basically right now, one of the things that I'm working on is getting PDFs for people for their second house placements. I talked a little bit about this last week, and being able to make money based on your second house. And so I'm looking at the PDF right now. I'll flip and show you a little bit of behind the scenes. One of the things that I like to do, because I like to do this differently than most people, because I feel like if you just make something for somebody that's like an automated thing, yeah, they could get, $25 worth of content or information out of it. But for me, it's much more important to give people actual practical steps based on their area of interest. So this is for Sarah. So I'm finishing up her guide today because I wanted to do a little bit more research about what she had asked me based on her side hustle, because I'm all about giving practical information. So I'm not showing you the page that I filled out, but just like actual practical 3 steps that you can give people. And I find that most people don't even know what practical steps like actually look like, even when you do purchase a PDF that says that they do that, right? So also being very helpful. What I do a lot too, as you can see a little bit of a sneak peek down here, is I'll also use ChatGPT, not for the guidance, but to make sure that I'm not making any typos or mistakes, because when I'm doing a lot of PDFs in a row, my eyes start to cross and I feel like it's hard for me to read on a computer screen. I used to print out things like that before, but I just don't want to waste the ink and paper, because I just feel like it's not useful. So all that to say, you could put and use ChatGPT as the source to spell check, especially helpful because I know I have quite a few people that are in like branding, marketing, PR, email newsletter writers, and they don't spell check. And I'm like, of any jobs that should spell check, you guys need to spell check, because if I'm paying you for a service and I see typos, I'm gonna be upset. So just a couple other tips, a little bit of behind the scenes of something else that I've been working on for you guys, and some other tools that you can use just to kind of like get your brains going, especially if you are somebody who wants to make PDFs as a form of semi-passive income to provide for people. Another tip that really helps me from a work perspective is writing my top 6 things that I'm going to do or need to do the next day in order to prioritize. And I always do this the night before. So this is from Thursday night for what I needed to prioritize for today. So I wanted to post my YouTube video, the one that you're watching now, my newsletter that shares like extended advice based on whatever my YouTube video is covering, or whatever I've just been talking about this week, my social posts, a PDF that I'm working on that I need to get to Anders as well, laundry I need to do because I have a lot of things that I'm doing this weekend, so I need to make sure my clothes are clean, and then something I call a clean 15. If you have gate 28 in your Human Design body graph, setting a timer to do like general maintenance cleaning, right, in our areas really helps, so that you don't feel overwhelmed by having to make it like an all or nothing mentality, which is really good for my generators and manifesting generators, especially anybody with an undefined ajna that has a like analysis paralysis or has a hard time with ADHD as well. I got this book in the mail, and I thought it was helpful for a lot of you guys that follow me on here, that cross follow me from a bunch of different platforms, to read to you the January 16th, dating myself, Daily Law. Robert Greene is amazing. If you haven't read his work or followed him before, he's a really good just like speaker and writer in general. So I want to read this to you. There are no superior callings. Keep in mind that your contribution to the culture can come in many forms. You don't have to become an entrepreneur or a figure largely in the world stage. You can do just as well operating as one person in a group or organization, as long as you retain a strong point of view that is your own and use this to gently exert your influence. Your path can involve physical labor and craft. You could take pride in the excellence of your work, leaving your particular stamp on the quality. It can be raising a family in the best way possible. In any event, you will want to go as far as you can in cultivating your uniqueness and the originality that goes with it. In a world full of people who seem largely interchangeable, you cannot be replaced. You are one of a kind, and your combination of skills and experience is not replicable. This represents true freedom and the ultimate power we humans can possess. The daily law is no calling is superior to another. What matters is that it be tied to a personal need and inclination, and that your energy moves you towards improvement and continuous learning from experience. And you guys know this if you followed me for a while, that so much of what I focus on also from the Book of Destinies is our incarnation cross. And that passage really supplements everything that I know and believe to be true that has proven my work to be successful in these past 9 years and growing in these past 9 years of helping people follow their incarnation cross. So if you know your incarnation cross and you want me to include that in a video for next week, you can drop that in the comments below. I got a request from Fallon to do triple split definition and talking about definitions as well. So if you guys have any questions or anything else that you want me to cover, I will leave you with that. I hope you guys enjoyed this vlog. And again, any requests, any special requests for content I can make for you, please feel free to drop it in the comments below and I'll include it in the next couple of vlogs. See you soon.